It's 2 o'clock. Do you know where your money is? We're going to find out.
Really?
Bill.
Yeah.
Who would say, it's 2 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock, do you know where your money is? Does anyone know? Yeah, okay. Okay. Welcome home. Welcome home, everybody. Thanks, Ma. Okay, I want to, we're having our meeting, our November meeting, and as you can see, there are a number of board members absent. We do not have a quorum on the board. Therefore, this is more of an informal board meeting. No binding decisions are going to be made, but we have lots to tell you. First of all, I'd like to introduce our board, and what I'll do is I'll introduce them because there's so many board members that are not here. Our board is comprised of myself, Joanne Ellison. I am the board president. We have Tom Swakowski, who is present today. He is our vice president. Steve Balakwa, our secretary, unfortunately cannot make it today. Don Taylor, our treasurer, also is not available this month. Joe O'Connor, another of our directors, is also out. To my left, we have Kathleen Sartoris and Len Alcantara, another director, is not feeling well and unfortunately could not make this meeting. We have 2 ex officio members that lend tremendous amount of wisdom and support to our board. We have Marty O'Shea. He is our ex officio emeritus. He's a former member of the board, and he's also been our treasurer and a finance committee chair. And across the table, we have Mike Odell, who is also an ex officio member of our board and our chair of the ALC. And then I would like to make staff introductions. Across the table, we have our general manager, Vivian Timian. We have Mike Treiber, our controller, Mike Roddy, director of golf and grounds, John Reed, director of operation, Jason Rasmussen, our AV and marketing person, and Leslie Vanoff, our executive assistant.
Right. And we also have TJ Ward here today. He's lending a hand to Jason and going to learn some things about audiovisual stuff. So that's great.
Great, great. Welcome, TJ. Okay. I thought I would open the meeting with a poem. Just that because we're approaching the holiday season and everything, I just thought we need some upbeat, positive thinking. So, good afternoon and welcome home to all, together once more at this familiar hall. As your president, I'm honored to stand, guiding our board with purpose at hand. Our mission remains steady and clear to serve our 2060 homes so dear. So here's to the season, to giving and cheer, to challenges faced and the goals we hold dear. With hearts full of thanks, let our meeting begin with vision, with purpose, united within. Thank you. And I also want to do a shout out. We have a wonderful committee that's doing a fabulous job headed by Gan Avery. We have an employee appreciation event every year. This is a Saddlebrook tradition. This year's event is Sunday, December 15th, 2024. And we strongly, flyers have been circulated all over Saddlebrook. There's flyers available in the clubhouse. They came with the communicator. Please consider making a donation to this fund. We have, and I had it written down here, how many employees?
151.
Thank you. 151 employees. So this is the time to show them some love. Okay? And we have additional flyers over there. So if you haven't given, I want to guilt you at least into giving, as my mother would do. And if you have any further questions, call Gan and Pat Avery. And we have their number up there too. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it over to our General Manager.
Well, thank you, Joanne. I wanted to cover a couple things before I launch into my report today. First of all, the Board of Directors vote is still continuing on, and it will end at November 27th at 4 p.m. The Election Committee will be in the front office, and they will pull the paper ballots out, and they will get the electronic counts from HOA Vote Now. And I'm hoping by about 5:30 we can announce results on the 27th so that everybody will know what's going on with HOA 1 for the coming new year. So if you haven't voted, please stop by. If you need, if you're having problems, I spoke with one woman today, and she really wanted to vote, and the problem was that the electronic system wasn't working for her. So Linda Irwin got a hold of her, and we got her straightened out so that she could in fact launch her vote. And again, if you haven't voted, please vote. And if you are having any problems, don't hesitate to call our front office at 520-825-3048. We can get you in touch with Linda Irwin, who can definitely get your electronic ballot issues worked out. And hopefully we have a good turnout of percentage from the homes that are out there. The other thing I wanted to mention, because Mike said, Vivian, they're not expecting me to say anything today. And I said, no, they're really not, because this is a little earlier because of the Mike Triber here to my left. Mike is our controller, and because of the earliness of the meeting this month, because of the holiday, Finance Committee has not met, and typically our Finance Committee reviews all of our financials prior to giving them to the board. So that will be presented next month in the month of December, along with, and I know everybody's going to show up because we're talking insurance next month. Please stop by. That's the most exciting conversation we're going to have all year. We saved it for December, so please come to the December meeting. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's on December 19th. Is that right? Yeah, I believe so. So let me talk about a few things that are going on. We've got quite a few things going on, actually. Golf is, October 24th was the warmest and driest October in history. And that's easily seen if you can see our bill for the water for the month of October. Quite a bit of money spent there. Annual golf fees are lower than budget due to medical credits that were applied during the month. The golf shop sales are better than budget. Golf course revenue slightly lower for the month, and a lot of that has to do with the weather. And high water usage due to warmer than normal overseed period when we overseeded the courses. However, I do believe that the overseed process is completed. The courses do look great, and a lot of people were out there today really enjoying the 80-degree weather that we've got going on right now. So I know for at least the next 5 days, I think you're going to have a lot of people out there on that course. From an F&B standpoint, Iron Chef sales are picking up on Thursday. Iron Chef continues through December 19th, and then Burger Night returns to Thursdays in the Vistas and Agave Lounge. Effective, I believe it's January the 10th. I believe that's right. But I'll get you a higher date on that for the next meeting. Revenue increase in November. We are seeing a lot of people come out and use our food and beverage area. The snowbirds are definitely back. We have $230K in revenue this month versus $172 in October. So a really strong showing in November, and December will be equally as strong. Just a lot of people coming in on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Right now, Thanksgiving is sold out. We have about 130 single meals that are going to be picked up the day of Thanksgiving, and 30 meals, family meals that will be picked up the day before. So a good showing for Thanksgiving. And if you don't have anything to do on Monday, please come on in and play some bingo. Really enjoyable thing. You can win some money. Doesn't cost very much, and it runs from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 9 o'clock at night. A lot of fun. 15 holiday parties are scheduled for December, and Homestyle Saturday is going to return in January as well. So quite a few things in food and beverage. For administration, we did see finally an uptick in October. We sold 14 homes, so we're 94 versus a budget of 104. We did sign off on the employee medical insurance contracts last month. We did see a 4%, slightly less than a 4% increase across the board, which is excellent on medical insurance these days. Property and liability insurance is out for bid, and like I said, come on in, and you might want to get here early because I think the seats are going to fill up. There's going to be so many people here. And the other thing we're working on right now is employee reviews. It is the end of the year, and we're working on those all the department managers are busy with those. In terms of CAM and facilities, we will start the first week in December. We're going to be painting the utility boxes on Acacia Hills, Saddlebrook Boulevard, and Ridgeview Boulevard. They're a little rusted and they look a little rough, so we're going to bring those back into compliance. We are completing work behind the resident homes, clearing the 5 feet, and we should have that done by the end of the year. The truss tail work will be completed probably by the first or second week in December, and that's the truss tails, the architectural feature that's on the clubhouse, the fitness center, and the tennis center. So he hopes to have that done, and the big project is we're replacing doors and frames on the golf course restrooms. We actually did receive the bids. We went ahead and awarded the bids out earlier this week, so that is, we're hoping to get that done as well before the end of the year. We have a fraud risk policy. And it identifies responsibilities for senior management and the general manager. One of the things in that fraud risk is that we do report that we have gone over the fraud risk policy with the managers and on a yearly basis. It has the importance of procedures pertaining to fraud risks. Obviously, we do an audit every year, and that's one of the first questions asked if we've had any problems with theft or fraud. And we go through that. And so we identify the responsibilities for all the staff members, and that should permeate down through all the staff members. So that's my report for this year for fraud risk. On the 401k investment committee, it's kind of an exciting deal. We have plan assets right now at $2.7 million, and we saw an increase of assets grow from 3% for 2024 versus 2023. 59% of eligible employees are currently participating. That's 49 out of 83. Average contribution rate is 8.6%. And the way our 401k works is the first 3% that you put into the 401k, it's 100% matched. And then the 4th and 5th% we match at 0.5%. So if the employee puts in 5%, the association basically matches it with 4%, which is actually a very generous program. I've got some other numbers here. The contribution on 2024 is a little over 95, and you can see the other contributions, but I think our current account balance is $2.7 million, as I said at the beginning. This is probably the more interesting part. We implemented this program, I believe, in 2011, and out of that $2.7 million since 2011, $858,000 has been the employer contribution part. So that's pretty sizable. We do appreciate it. It does, it's part of our benefit package. It does make it easier when we start talking. We just did open enrollment, and we had them come in and talk to the younger people about the importance of getting in the 401k program. And if you can't do anything else, put in the 3% and get 100% matching, because you're going to really appreciate that in about 10 or 15 years, and then hopefully that will grow over that amount of time. So this is an important aspect of our benefit package, and I did want to cover that today. So,
Okay.
and the next thing up is,
Hold on.
Okay.
I want to make the introduction to the investment committee update. You guys are so lucky you came. Okay, I happen to have had some time, and I know that I was a little negligent in not mentioning the investment committee at the recent, what do you call that? The
Volunteer
appreciation. So I thought I would rectify the problem today. So I want to express on behalf of the board, I want to express our appreciation of the Investment Committee. With care and wisdom, you've made us grow. In T-bills and bonds, our trust we bestow. Safe and steady, your choices shine, securing our future one step at a time. Your efforts have brought our community gain through markets of sunshine and moments of rain. We thank you, dear Bill, for the work you have done. Your leadership shines like the Arizona sun. And with that, I turn it over. You follow it like you usually do with your report.
Keeps on going out.
Are you saying you're just an altar boy?
No, I was in seminary.
Oh,
I sometimes, never mind, I don't want to say that. Okay, so this seems to be, okay. So the presentation is not more or less, it's very similar to what I've done in the past, but I have put different emphasis on certain aspects of it because of what has happened over the last 4 or 5 years, COVID, et cetera. So I will cover that. The committee has not changed much. First of all, I should have put her name up there. I want to recognize Leslie because, believe me, without her, I would be a mess. And she keeps things going quite well. The committee, and I don't think this pointer works on that. So the committee is more or less the same. Don Taylor is actually about the only change we've had, and been doing this for over 11 years at this point. And Don Taylor is about the only change, and Marty was the interface for quite a long time, and I'll get back to Marty in a few minutes. But we're divided in 2 sections, in a sense. Vivian, Mike, and Don handle the accounting and help the committee with the forecast of when we're going to need money, the timing on a monthly basis. This becomes especially important as we take a look at the reserve account and the CIF, because a lot of the spending is focused in the summertime on those particular accounts. The investment side of the committee, first of all, we're all CFAs, and Craig, Mike, and myself, and I put the dates there that we got our CFAs because it was in the middle of a very high inflationary environment. So all of us cut our teeth on that period of time, and this is a little inside baseball, but when I first started in the business, we had what we called an inverted investment curve. That is, short rates were higher than long rates, and I thought that was normal for a long time. I mean, that's what I grew up in. So that's our background, and that's why we're particularly sensitive in the committee to inflation and inflationary trends. So we have the 2 distinct areas, accounting and investment management. Our investment objectives are clearly defined in the CC&Rs, and we have never violated those guidelines. We have made a slight change in one of them. In order to buy bonds, you want bank CDs, there's a $250,000 limit on what's covered by the government. So we have never violated that. We used to do 245 to 247. We had, in a high interest rate environment, we did reduce it to 235. So we only do CDs up to 235,000. But as you'll see, we actually, because of the way rates have been, we have a fair number of U.S. Treasuries that are in the account. So that is an important thing to understand. We have never violated those rules. Our meetings are in fact periodic because we meet when we need to make investments, and we meet when the statements are prepared. And by way of example, and I'll talk a little bit about this in the next few minutes, there was actually a period of time during the summer that Vivian, I think we went 2 or 3 months without a meeting, didn't we? Because, and I'll talk about a change that Marty pushed through, which has been an excellent change to the procedures that has allowed us to alter exactly how we make some of the investments and when monies get moved around. And that was an important change that took place in what we do. And that will be hopefully somewhat evident. Now, to review what we've done, and I think I showed this at the annual meeting, in the early period of time, the 2013 to 16 period, we were trying to figure out, we were trying to put forms together, we were trying to figure out exactly how we were going to do this. And we had determined that for each of the 3 accounts, we were going to do a laddered portfolio. We were simply going to match exactly what we needed in a particular month to maturities and monies being available. As we got into the 2016 and 2017 period, and Marty, I may be a little bit off on which year this happened, but we determined that if we could change the transfer policy, not change the dollar amount that the board had approved that would go from the operating account into the CIF and into the reserves, if we could alter, it used to be that the account or the transfer was scheduled to be made in the month of July, I believe is when it was scheduled. Well, we said, why don't we just move that around? We'll move it whenever we want. And Mike Treiber has full authority to make those transfers. He, in consultation with Vivian, make those transfers when he needs the money in a certain period of time. So sometimes he might do it in April, sometimes he might push it to August, but what it does is it allows us to fit investment possibilities to different buckets. So that's a significant change that, and again, I think it was 2017, Marty, but it was somewhere in there that you pushed that through, and it's a big, big improvement and add to our rate of return. Now, in the 2018 and 19 period, and I've got some charts on this, rates started to go up close to 3%. Today's market, that sounds like, why would you invest? But we were extending maturities because rates were rising, and I do have some line charts on that. 2020, COVID hit. We'll take a look at that too, but there's not much more to say about that. COVID was a mess in terms of the investment process. 2021, your committee started forecasting higher inflation, and we had a healthy balance sheet, so we had a lot of capability to move things around. Now, to give you a pictorial of this, so getting back to curves, the curve when rates are lower in the early years, at the bottom, this pointer doesn't have a dot on it, or it does, but it doesn't show up on the screen. The 30-day is on the far left, the 10-year Treasury is on the far right. That's what all money managers or all bond managers look at. The 10-year Treasury is considered the longest. There are 30-year maturities out there, but the 10-year is the longest. In the early years, in the 2013 period, that's not a mistake. Literally, rates were in the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3%. In the business, we say 10 basis points, 20 basis points. It wasn't until 2017 that the rates began to lift. And while rates were in the point in time where I did this, rates were around for 3-year. And back then, that was about as long as we would go out. 3-year, maybe a 4-year security. 210, sometimes 230, 240. We actually did get some 3% money during the 2017 period, and we did extend those maturities out to about 3 years. Marty, you may remember that we did that. Then COVID hit. This is the 1-year Treasury. This is not a yield curve. This is the rate on a 1-year U.S. Treasury from 2017 to 2020, middle of 2021. You can see, the way to read this is, you can see that the early period, up to 2018, the one-year Treasury was approaching 2.8%. We were laying money off, and we had the flexibility. We were laying money off into the 3.5 year period of time in that time frame. Now, this is all based on, and let me back up. This is based on the accounting that I work with Mike Treiber, who, by the way, he has to put up with me. He does a fantastic job of putting this stuff together and helping me to understand where the buckets have to be filled. And we had a lengthening of maturity in 2018 and 2019. We didn't have any idea about COVID at that point in time. We just said, this looks like a bit of a peak at that point in time. Then, and that's not a misprint, when COVID hit, rates dropped. The rate on the one-year Treasury literally dropped to 10 basis points. That was all you could get for it. Now, back then, there were some offers made by some of the companies, and we had a product called, or Mike was able to find a product called Cedars. It was a little bit of a complicated product in the way it was used and the way it was presented to us and what we had to commit to. But Craig and I called the company and we vetted what was being done. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, were we the only ones that they actually matched their underlying investments, or are you aware of that? I know we had a match of underlying investments. So we demanded that if we were going to use this product, that we get a match, because we didn't want to go over the $250,000. So they were able to do that. We were able to leverage some rates of return. We were getting up, didn't we get 90 basis points, Mike, at the outset? When rates were in the 10 to 40 basis points, we were getting double that rate. So we were able to really extend some of the rates of return for ourselves or for the community. Then what happened in 2021, the committee was very negative on the inflation outlook. And what we did was we began to shorten the maturity. Now, this is just the opposite. Instead of lengthening things, we decided to stop investing for the long term, i.e., most of our investments were less than 1 year, and anything we laid off was less than 1 year. And let me orient you to this graph. On the top in the red, first on the bottom, time is on the bottom, 1Q21 all the way out to 4Q23. In the red on the top are the rates that were available to us in I use treasuries because that's at least the most commonly quoted thing. 1 year treasury rates were in the 0.1%, as I indicated, in the early 2021 or early 21 period. The judgment that your committee made, and the 10-year rates were 1.2, and then as we got out to the far right-hand side, fourth quarter of 23, 3.9%. So, the judgment that money managers do and corporate treasurers do, we used to look at this every single day when I was in corporate treasury. What's the percentage of cash that you have available, and how much of it do you want to invest in for how long a period of time? It wasn't unusual for us when I was at Searle and Motorola to invest for 7 days. I mean, because that was the judgment as to how we would invest everything. The judgment that we made here was, at the left-hand column, the vertical column, is the percentage of cash that was on the balance sheet in aggregate. In other words, in late 21, we got all the way up to 70+% what I call cash. As we started to roll through into 3Q22 and 4Q22, you can see that the 1 year and the 10 year began to rise significantly in rates. That was a recognition of higher inflation. The market was reacting to it. Now, what we did was we began to reinvest that cash, and we got it all the way down to under 20%. Now, the line item, or where we prefer to have as a cash, is about 20%. We need that, that's the friction that we need in order to manage the business, both on the reserve side as well as the operating side. So now, we did get low in 1Q, you can see 1Q 23, but keep in mind, that's first quarter when a lot of monies are coming in from homeowners' fees. So we had some flexibility, plus the big spending on reserves is typically done in the summertime. So we had the flexibility to push that out just a little bit. Now, it was about that point in time, and I think the committee would probably tell you, I may be a little more aggressive than some in how we do some of this stuff. And I wanted to hold on a little bit longer. And Craig, and I don't know if you were in the committee or it was Don Taylor, Craig said, Bill, you sure you're going to be right? And it brings back a statement we always used to say about investing money. Only one person gets the top and one person gets the bottom. All the rest of us play in between. We try to pick our spots, but you're not going to be perfect every single time. And we're not perfect every single time. The red line right there is kind of where we're trying to use that as a bottom. And you can see from 2Q all the way out now on 4Q 23, and by the way, it's the same thing in 24, we have been able to minimize the amount of cash that's on the balance sheet. Working with Mike and Vivian, we try to really squeeze it down as far as we can right now because we think we're kind of at a top in rates. So now what we're doing is our operating accounts are where most of our short-term transactions are taking place. Because of, at least in my view, the excellent forecast that Mike and Vivian have done as to the amounts of money we're going to need for the RRF and the CIF. And by the way, our job is not to opine on whether or not that's good or bad spending. We're told what the number is, and we have to try and match that up. The RRF and the CIF are where we've extended maturities as far as we can. We have some money, and I'll show it to you in a moment, that goes out to 2027. In a sense, it's a barbelled approach. The short-term money's in the operating account, and the longer-term stuff is in the capital accounts. Now, I put these charts, and you don't have this exact chart in your package because I put this chart together before the election. Since the election, I have been asked by innumerable amounts of people, what's going on, what does it mean, etc. So, the blue line, the pre-election, was when what the yield curve looked like before the election. I talked about the 2021 to 2022, what the yield curve looked like then. That green line I inserted yesterday. Leslie was nice enough to take care of this chart for me. And what we have basically is a flat yield curve. The bottom curve is more or less a positive yield curve. The upper curve is an inverted yield curve. We have now what we call, I looked it up this morning, the 10-year, now the 90-day is 4.41%. The 10-year is approximately 4.35. I mean, there's literally about 6 basis points to go from one end to the other. So at this point in time, I think the market is trying to figure out what to do, and a little bit of a fly in the ointment was thrown in today. The market was expecting a Fed cut in December, and Austin Goolsbee, who is on the board, he's from Chicago, he indicated he thought that there was less of a chance that there would be a cut now in December than he still is expecting, and he's one of the doves on the committee. He's expecting a lower probability of a cut. So as a result, the probability of a cut December, literally today, went from 90% down to 52% this morning. So more to come on that. So now what I did was I decided I wanted to kind of give you a flavor for one of the months and where we're at. The dotted line and above is cash. That's what we use for cash. This is in the replacement reserve. If you read kind of that middle column, or I guess it's third one over from the left, you can see some of the rates that we have there. Now, we had a 3.22% rate of return that just matured. But if you take a look at the rest of those, you will see that we are in the 4.25% all the way up to, I think there's a 5 or 5.1% on that. I can't quite read it from here. But we have monies that are going out to 2.027, and we'll be earning upwards of 4.5%, almost 5% on most of that money. Now, the party is about to end because rates are now down from where they were 6 months ago when we were investing. But we still have quite a bit of money that we did lay off, and a pretty strong solution. Now, just so that you understand the coding, if you see on the left-hand side, right below that dotted line, it says UST. That's a U.S. Treasury. Sometimes a U.S. Treasury is a better choice than, and what we call it, and this is a little inside baseball, non-callable CDs. We only want we want to make sure that we get the return over the entire period of time. Nowadays, the non-callables are less advantageous than the Treasury. So we've been kind of focusing or moving a little bit more towards the callables. So then, finally, how'd we do? Well, we did pretty okay. Last year, 2023, we did 370,000. This year, the forecast, based on 9 or 10 months worth of, I think I did this September. I think I did this on the October results. We think we're going to earn $360,000 this year. I don't want anyone to expect that that's going to continue next year. Yeah. I'm hiring you, Tom, if you think that can happen. And that means over 11 years, we've done about pretty close to $1.5 million in returns. So with that, I will be happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you. Mike would have to answer that. I can tell you who I bank with.
A regular bank is for Citizens, investment bank is Charles Schwab.
And I happen to personally use Charles Schwab, and I think Charles Schwab is an excellent organization. So, but a lot of alternatives that you can get there. So.
Thank you. Wow. On behalf. Okay. No.
It's okay.
All right, Vivian, take it away.
Yeah. I guess we'll start with John Reed. There's different colors for John because wanted to check to see if he was colorblind or not today. But basically, the ones that are in blue, even though these are projects in process, the ones that are in blue, we actually paid the month of November. So go ahead, and the other ones have not been completed yet. So.
Hello, everybody. This is John Reed. First one there on Agave Dining Golf Shop Interior Design. Mike and I are working tag team in this one here. We're real close to bringing that to the board. I think in January is our plan at this point. Still waiting on one estimate for some flooring, but we've got several estimates on all the different components of the golf shop interior design. And I think we also picked up a board to show the HOA what exactly we're doing there, and that'll be displayed here shortly. South Agave entrance doors are installed. We are still waiting on the correct automatic actuators to go on those doors. Twice now. The first one they sent us was not the correct one. The second one they sent us was the correct one, but it was only one instead of two. So we're having some supply chains issues with those actuators for those doors. But once they do get here, we'll install them. Air handlers 13 and 14, those are installed, working great. Chiller pumps also installed and working great. Creative Arts and Wellness Center, Woodshop A&E. The Pinell County has our variance application, and been a lot of dialogue between myself and them, and they've billed us for their application fee and everything, and they're communicating back and forth, and I'm hoping if I keep bulldogging it without pissing them off, we'll get a date here pretty soon. The Vista carpet is installed, obviously. The tables and chairs that we've ordered, the tables are ordered. We expect them before the end of the year. The chairs are hopefully by the end of the year, but most likely won't be until the beginning of the year when the chairs get here. Common area vehicle is here and is working great. Truss tail caps installation, that was a new contractor I used, and the communication is not very good, and they will finish by the end of the year. Just having to keep a lot of babysitting there going on with that contractor to get it finished off. Most likely won't use them again. Fitness center women's showers, they're getting good reviews from the fitness center on the showers, and we're doing the men's showers next year. Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Creative Arts and Wellness Center, A&E Construction. On my paper is all in one line there. Creative Arts and Wellness Center, A&E construction documents. Obviously, we approved the monies for the construction documents, but those construction document spending any money towards that is on hold until we do get our variance. So kind of waiting on that process to move forward with once the county gives us a go-ahead. Drainage and engineering services, they have completed all the surveying of the areas, and they gave me some dates of probably February. They'll give us a analysis and engineering for the phase 2 of the Catalina, and March for the Bobcat Canyon, and then probably May, June for the CDO wash analysis. Portable floor scrubber is ordered and expected to arrive next week.
All right, golf items on projects. Lease, we're still waiting for 3 fairway mowers, so the wait continues, unfortunately, on that. Bunker sand, all the sand is here, and I think you'll see that project closed out here next month. Golf course improvements, as we've talked about, are going to extend into 2025 before we complete the work on the new nursery on Tucson number 6.
Thanks, Mike. I just want to go over a few road projects. So we did complete several projects in October. November, you'll see a larger number of projects complete. The road work phase 3 resurfacing comes out of the replacement reserve fund. The budget was $565,000. We spent $573,000. The reason for this slight over budget was, if you remember, this was a 1.5 inch. We milled down and then we overlaid it back with 1.5 inches. And one of the things you really run the risk of with an overlay is you're trying to stop any cracks from permeating up to the top. So we used a fiber material that has a greater tensile strength, so that'll help stop the cracking from permeating from the bottom asphalt. But the other thing we did was we went ahead and crack sealed the asphalt, so that will also, so you don't get as much movement on the back, on the bottom section of it. Ridgeview has a 3-inch, 3 to 3.5 inch asphalt layer, and we only took the first 1.5 inches off. So what we did was we went ahead and crack sealed the other 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches down there, so that you don't get that big movement. So that should, useful life on the road, we typically resurface in about 20 years. The roadwork phase seal coating, we did a lot of seal coating here, 11A, 612, 16 Massey Drive, South Santa Monica Court, Unit 20 parking lot, Howlands Highway, golf shop parking area, and the golf maintenance yard. That was all budgeted at $116, came in slightly under budget at $112,698. Bocce ball courts, we were originally approved at a value of $67,182, and John got the vendor to negotiate a 10% drop in the pricing, and consequently, the total price on the bocce ball course came in significantly lower at $57,558. The glycol system in the agave, now this is probably the most important project up there. What the glycol system does, it keeps the beer lines cool. And that went out, and we got that replaced. It was emergency replacement at $59.34. We do expect that glycol system to last about 7 years. The audio system for the Vistas has been completed. It was originally budgeted or approved at $14,882, came in at around $12,212. And the drainage reset, the Catalina Hole number 1 and Catalina View, that was originally budgeted for $348,000 and came in slightly under budget at $337,790. We do expect that drainage reset to last at least 25 years between those two. So those are the completed projects in October, and like I said, we're going to have a lot of them, more of them in November. We're excited to close these out before the year end. I think you're going to see that projects in process list come way down by the end of December. So the team is doing a great job closing stuff out, and our purchasing person is doing a great job getting the invoicing in, which is really important so that we can pay everybody before the end of the year. So I think now, there we go. Now we're where I thought we were 10 minutes ago.
Yes, we're ready now for your resident comments and questions. So please come to the mic. And thank you all for coming to this meeting. We appreciate it.
I think it's a little high. Anyway, Linda Henriksen, Unit 6. I just wanted to mention that one of our residents said that resurfacing of Ridgeview by their house, because they back up to it, made it so much quieter, and they were really appreciative. She was asking if we are going to continue around Ridgeview like next year, or?
Actually, the next resurfacing around Ridgeview will happen in 2026. We'll take out another section, and then 27, I believe, complete everything around.
Okay, yeah, they were very happy.
Yeah, it was a great project.
Mhm.
Anybody else have anything to say on this fabulous day, November 21st? Afternoon. What?
Get out while you can.
Get out while you can. All right, well, I guess you're so lucky you came, guys, because I have something to say upon closing the meeting today. Are you ready?
Yes. Bring it on.
As we end this time we've spent today, we pause with thanks in a heartfelt way for shared ideas and thoughtful plans, for caring minds and willing hands. Each voice here matters, each effort counts. Together we climb to greater amounts. We walk as one with purpose and grace, building a brighter, stronger place. So with gratitude deep and goals held high, we part for now. Until next time, goodbye.